What's up, wrestling fans? There's a little bit of wrestling news that I just want to sprinkle into you guys. The first thing is Nick Wayne. There's an article about him. He's making his debut soon in AEW or something. He's 16 years old. So I'm not going to talk about him because he's underage. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a picture of him where he looks like he's high and his eyes are like closed shut. Like in the photo, I don't know. He looks like Matt Riddle, like extra baked or whatever. But yeah, man, he's a young guy, and for that reason, I'm just not really going to go into it. At 16 years old, I was a mess at 16 years old, so I'm not even going to mention that. When the guy becomes 18 and signs somewhere and whatever, then we'll get into that, but I'm not going to do it. Kota Ibushi, as an injury status update, I appreciate people sending me stuff. I hope he gets better, and I hope he's fully recovered and okay soon. Kota Ibushi is just a treasure, no doubt about it. I love the guy. But, Shida, speaking of Japanese wrestlers, or Kushida, rather. Is it Kushida? Jesus Christ. I can't remember everybody's names at this point. But Kushida is gone from WWE. Did you guys remember when he showed up and everybody freaked out about how awesome it was, and I didn't? Now you see why I didn't. You know what I mean? Kushida is gone from NXT. Where will he go? Probably back to New Japan. You know what I mean? I do like the Marty McFly look and everything, but, it's just like, what a just nothing. And it's not even his fault. I don't get hyped about these things because they just don't go anywhere. Most of the time, it feels like they don't go anywhere. But you should go down below and hit the super thanks button. And the top person, I will post your super thanks. I will pin it to this video. If you guys have questions, comments, or topics that you want to talk about, please leave it down below. I am going to scour the comment section of this video and a few of the most recent ones so that I can make a video reacting to everything about the wrestling news and things like that. So please start talking in the comments down below. Let's see what you guys got. Or leave a super thanks, or become a patron, patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, and support the channel and what I do if you like this type of stuff. And I'll do more of it. Gangrel believes Cody Rhodes' WWE return gives AEW credibility. That's one way to look at it. It's a nice optimistic take by Gangrel. But I will point you in the direction of a fascinating article that's on NODQ. Our old friend Aaron Rift, he had a guy that wrote a scathing article on AEW, calling out AEW for all these goofy things, and the guy goes on a full-on rant. It sounds like a Joe Cronin rant put into words and text. It's kind of amazing. And one of the things, I tweeted it out earlier today and said, hey, where's the health insurance that all the wrestlers were going to be getting? This guy goes into a scathing article about AEW. He kind of shits on Tony Khan quite a bit. I don't know if I'd go that far because I like Tony Khan. I like AEW. And I don't have a problem, I don't know why everybody needs to be what, the article goes on to say that Tony Khan sees himself as Paul Heyman, but he's not. He's just Dixie Carter and a fan. And, you could say that, but you don't know if Tony Khan sees himself as Paul Heyman. You know what I mean? That's the one thing to criticize the article and to people. I don't think how do we know he sees himself as Paul Heyman? Maybe he sees himself as a fan, which is what you called him and everybody tends to call him. I think he sees himself as a fan. I think he says he's a fan. He goes, hey, man, I've been a fan of this guy for so long. I don't think Tony Khan hides what he is. He's a guy who's got money and booking power, and he's a fan, and he's putting together the matches he's wanted to see. And if that comes off markish, well, that's what it is. He literally says that. So although I like the article, and it's a good rant, and he makes some great points about health insurance and other things like that AEW constantly virtue signaled about, oh, there's going to be this change and that change. And part of the reason why AEW is so discombobulated is because there were so many hands in the basket. And I think Tony Khan is washing away those hands to be just, it's me now. Like, let's figure this out. No more, this guy says we're going to do stats. This guy says we're going to have health care. This guy says we're going to have free abortions for everybody and all the wrestlers' wives. This guy says it's about inclusivity and all these other things. It's not anymore. It's about what Tony wants, and it's a different vision than it was at the beginning. At the beginning, you were hearing about everybody's different visions all coming together, and then the actual vision started to take place. And now you're seeing what the vision is when it's pretty much just Tony in charge of everything just about. So, and Cody Rhodes is gone. So, I think the article is really good, but there are some points I would argue. I would argue on Tony Khan's behalf. Again, like I said, that I don't think he's ever, how do you know that he sees himself as Paul Heyman? I don't think that you can say that. You could say that if he wants to see himself as Paul Heyman, he should do these things. But instead, right now, he's seen as a fanboy who owns a company. That's fine if you want to say that. He says that. So it's really not a gotcha moment for me. That's what he is. What's wrong with that? You know what I mean? I don't know. We've seen a Paul Heyman. We've seen a Jim Cornette. We've seen a Vince McMahon. We've seen a, Eric Bischoff, and the list goes on. Well, now you're seeing what it's like when a fan takes over. You know what I mean? And it's like when J.J. Abrams took over Star Wars, right? J.J. Abrams was a huge Star Wars fan. George Lucas wrote the prequels and did the prequels, and people didn't really like them too much. And then, George Lucas said, okay, take the reins, somebody else, I'm selling it. And then Disney takes over, and J.J. Abrams is a fan of Star Wars. So in Episode 7, you got a fan service movie that was a soft reboot with about fan service, and he brought back that essence of Star Wars that people really liked. Now, it had its problems, but it was a nice little 7 out of 10. Classic J.J. Abrams. The story is a little wonky, but is a great director with great ideas. But sometimes they get a little bogged down by the Alex Kurtzman crap and that sort of thing. So that's what Tony Khan is, a fan. And I would say that Star Wars Episode 8 is like when Tony Khan passed it off to Cody and the Young Bucks. Here, you guys try it. I'm going to take it back. You guys made a mess. I'm going to take it back now as the fan. And that's what J.J. Abrams did in Episode 9. It's very it's a little bit comparable. It's not quite the exact good thing to compare to or analogy or whatever, but it's something like that. So for Gangrel to say that AEW is actually giving credit to the wrestling world and Cody Rhodes coming over justifies AEW, I don't think it does or doesn't. You know what I mean? I think if anything, it just shows how one guy had a vision of AEW and those visions drifted apart, and he had a great run, and now it's time to do something different, and that's really all it comes down to me. AEW is legitimate with 1 million viewers about, so they're fairly legitimate. WWE is fairly legitimate as well. But honestly, neither company is growing new fans, creating new fans, really. I mean, AEW still has 1 million people to win over, right? So you could say that AEW has that going for it, that it still has about 1.5 million active wrestling fans that it could or try to win over, right? Because WWE has a 2.5 million audience at cap, pretty much, at its height right now. The WWE is capable of about 2.5 million viewers. So there's probably 3.5 million active people somewhere out there, but they're very limited. 1.5 million of them are limited. They only tune in if something crazy is going down or once in a while off and on. So there's really 2.5 million active viewers. And Raw certainly only has 1.7 or less active viewers. So that means if AEW is at 900,000, the AEW has a potential for 2 million to 2.5 million wrestling fans out there if they can convert them. So they're there. But other than that, they're not creating brand new wrestling fans. AEW certainly isn't. WWE isn't. They're all WWE is on the downward trend. So WWE's only possibilities are to downward trend. That's pretty much what they do. They downward trend. So WWE downward trends. AEW was upward trending and now is plateaued at a solid straight level. So, but they still have people that they can convert over. WWE doesn't. There's nothing left for WWE unless they create brand new wrestling fans. How are you going to do it? That's the question. I want to sit around a round table at WWE at Stanford. I want to sit around a round table with Vince McMahon and everybody else, and I want to say, guys, how are we going to create new wrestling fans? Has anybody written that question on the wall yet? How do we create new fans? How do we get new fans? Put that on the wall. Let's brainstorm this out. I want 30 minds thinking about this. I want Hollywood writers. I want series writers. I want idea thinkers. I want some fans. I want some people in the room that don't even like or know what wrestling is. I want Jim Cornette in the room. I want Paul Heyman in the room. I want Vince McMahon in the room. I want Bruce Pritchard in the room. I want a bunch of other names in the room. I want everybody in this meeting. It's all hands on deck meeting. I want executives. I want everybody. I want 50 people, most of them all coming from different areas and backgrounds. And I want to look at what makes a star, what makes a trend, what makes social media, what makes people become famous nowadays. How do we get people to watch professional wrestling in 2022? What do we do? That's the question. If there was an answer, somebody would be making even more money than they are right now. But WWE is making so much money, they almost don't want to ask that question, I don't think. I think WWE sits around an office board meeting and says, how do we make more money? Well, we move the network here. Oh, we add the network there. We change the network into this. We sell a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. We go to UK. We go there. We sell merchandise here, there, and everywhere. We create 5 new superstars every 3 months so that the amount of sales and volume happen here. We create this TV deal. We sell this to Fox. That's what they're thinking, and they're damn good at it, by the way. WWE is one of the best business minds in the world right now. I'm dead serious. Like, these people have converted money in ways that are phenomenal. Like, the way that they've I don't want to say manipulated, but the way that they've, like, stroked their stocks and their stockholders, and created this energy about their company. The way that they've issued these deals, it's amazing. And maybe there's a little bit of luck involved with Saudi Arabia really wanting entertainment, because without that, that's a big thing. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars gone if that doesn't happen. If Prince, whatever his name is, of Saudi Arabia, wasn't bone-sawing some journalist's head off and then thinking, what would be great? WWE in this country. If he hadn't have done that, thought that, they would be missing a quite substantial chunk of money right now, right? Anyway, I'm Joe Cronin. What do you guys think about all this? Leave it in the comments down below. WWE is celebrating 20 years of Randy Orton everywhere. That's awesome, man. Randy Orton is a solid wrestler. He has proved himself to be one of the last real legends of wrestling. And I'm not even the biggest Randy Orton fan as far as wrestling in the ring, but as far as psychology, being able to cut a promo and do his job and feel like a real wrestler, Randy Orton is one of the last. I got to be honest, man. He is one of the last guys of that, and he comes from that, era. He came up in that era. He's got the lineage of his family. Randy Orton is legit. And so celebrate him, they should. I'm Joe Cronin. Leave a like down below. Leave a comment. Tombstone that like button for the underwear taker. And leave your comment, please. And use super thanks if you really can. Leave a super thanks down below. Or hit me up privately on paypal.me/Joe Cronin Show. I'm Joe Cronin. Hit me up on Twitter at JCS Commentary. Hopefully there's some other videos of mine popping up right now for you. Otherwise, search for more of my videos and molest them all. I will see you possibly later tonight. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.